from this.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Thank you so much. Jeepers, I thought you were going to wait for like later on in the night. Oh, kia ora koutou. Thank you, Hinwins, my little darling, my little turdy from Hatu Hohepa. She was good girl, good girl. He mihi atu tēnei kia koutou, ngā mana whenua, ngā mātāwaka, ki ngā kaitito, ngā kaipuoro, te whānau whānui e mātakitaki mai a mātou. Nō reira tēnā koutou katoa, he honore nui tēnei. Kia ora henuihi. I told my son I was a bit nervous about tonight, which is really weird because I am used to speaking a lot. But I was very nervous, and he said, Mum, you'll be right, just don't go on, don't get all political, and don't be annoying. And I thought, given I've built my entire career on that, what's the chances of stopping now? My 8-year-old Manawanui, she told her playmates, I heard her yesterday say, my mum has been abducted by the Hall of Fame. And I thought, that's just about right. It's been very funny. It's been very full on with interviews. And this really weird thing has happened because I got a beautiful text from our old mate, Hone Harawera, saying, awesome, awesome. And then I got a shout out from Whale Oil. I mean, how they said raging lefty, but, you know, accolade really deserved, and then everything in between. I've been induced this week, which is very painful for anyone to be induced, inducted, abducted, and thanks to my ex-husband, Willie Jackson, indicted. I mean, I am bloody knackered, people. So, forgive me, Russell Bailey, if I go on a bit. Get your sleeping bag out. So my first response when reading the letter from Anthony Healy, the way he worded it, was to measure myself against the other people who've been abducted into the Hall of Fame, and to many of you in this room who, my God, I bow down to for your talent, and to many still outside this room, and I measured myself and I found myself falling short. All I could see is the flaws and weaknesses. So I had to think long and hard about it. And there's Dalvanius in my ear. He's in my ear quite a bit. He said to us Ahins, and here's one for all the Maioha finalists, remember you are not the star, the reo is the star. He used to say that, and he said to be nice to people on the way up because you meet the same ones on the way down. And the really important thing, as he said, was don't believe your own publicity. But every argument that I had against accepting this most amazing invitation was anticipated by the very wily Mr. Healy, and I think that's his legal training. The only way that I could get my head around this is to see it as an acknowledgement of the whakapapa of Māori music, that it's not about me, that it's from our tūpuna right down to the Maioha finalists tonight, to the crew from up north, the alien weaponry crew who sing te reo heavy metal and the smoke-free rock quest, and to all those whose best work is yet to come, and I count myself in that. So I accept this award with tremendous pride that my own work has formed part of the continuum, and with the whakatauki, e hara taku tō i te tō taki tahi he tō taki tini. My achievements aren't mine alone, but of the many. It's not about me. So please forgive me if I just spend some time to say that my music has been enriched by many creatives. That's producers, writers, co-writers, collaborators, singers, performers, musicians, but it also continues to be informed and inspired by many people outside the music industry. Incredible thinkers, visionaries, activists, academics, and artivists. This award has been a real true gift because when you're thinking about your next single, when you're organising your next tour, when you're doing all that, I don't think past 2 years. So the big hair thing, I didn't really want to think back that far, but it's been coming at me all week. All the stuff that we did so long ago, and it's given me an opportunity to reflect on where I've come from, who's helped me, who's empowered me. I'd like to just acknowledge my family who've been here tonight. I cannot believe you guys did that sneaky little video without me knowing. I am such a control freak, I had no idea. But I'd like to thank my family, my sister Trina, who's just been my right-hand man for my band, our brother Maru, my sisters Nikki and Kerry Lee, who are here with our mother Bernadette, and our other sister Lisa, who's really flashes over at Stanford University with students from Ngāti Porou. Our father Nepia would have loved this. He would have loved this. I want to acknowledge my darling Toby Mills. Our first public date was an APRA event, just quietly. Yes, quite flash. He's a filmmaker, a producer, director, and so he's tailor-made for being stage manager and tour manager, you know, total bossy type. Sol Desali, my wonderful manager, who came at me in 2002 with an offer I couldn't refuse. He's been a wonderful fan and critic, which is what a manager should do. They should tell you when you're doing great, tell you when you're doing rubbish, unless your manager happens to be your husband. So big shout out to my former husband, Willie Jackson, who, as everyone in Māoridom knows, is one great plotter. And he really was a wonderful manager. He was a great husband too. He joined me up with various bands, including Aotearoa, took me to pubs, clubs and gang pads. And just quietly, they don't clap in gang pads. You sing a song and they just go, what the hell? But you know, they do great kai. So if you get on offer, just go for it. It was Willie who went up to Dalvanius and said, and I quote this verbatim, "My missus can sing way better than those Sheilas behind you. You should record her." Dalvanius goes, "Really?" And then a couple of years later he came back with Kua Mākona. So he would plot with our friend Wyn Osborne back in the day, and our band did wonderful things in Moa Hunters. And at the same time, Willie and I were calling out the New Zealand music industry and the New Zealand radio on its racism when no one else was doing so. So music, you know, music has given me a platform to do that. It's given me a profile, and it was important for us to do that because there were other people doing other things outside the music industry. So, Willie, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and to the Jackson whānau, who've been just a wonderful family to me, and to our whole crew out in South Auckland, who've been so wonderful. Journalists always ask me what comes first, the music or the politics, and it's a dumb question really, because it's all interlinked. You know, when you're Māori, you're a walking, breathing political statement. Hello, you know, there's expectations and responsibilities piled on you. And you're part of this matrix of core values. So when I look back over my body of work, which I was forced to do for this, I can track what's been going on for the last 30 years through the music, you know, because I wrote about and we performed the stories that are going around us. We never heard our language on the radio back in the day. So, you know, most of the 80s I wanted to be black. I really wanted to be Shaka Khan. Annie Crummer and I used to stand in my lounge and we'd be going, "Roll me through the rushes like Moses." Yeah. Anyway, Annie was way better than me. But, you know, we were involved, and me and Willie were involved in all these community movements and all this activism and all this stuff, but when you don't see yourself on television, you don't hear yourself on the radio, it's easy to get the impression that your culture doesn't count. So I remember when Willie brought Maranga Ake Ai from Aotearoa, and you know, you heard this song, you know, "There's a movement on the street, Maranga Ake Ai." I thought, wow, they're speaking to us. And Rua Kenana, about one of our great leaders. In spite of that, I still wanted to be Chaka Khan until I found myself in a Detroit Baptist Church surrounded by 400 Afro-Americans who all sounded like Mahalia Jackson. And the minister at the front said, "We got a popular Maori singer here, a Maori Indian woman. She's going to get up to sing." And I thought, God damn it, I've been trying to be black for like most of my life. And as I was walking up, I had my epiphany. This is a good time to be Māori. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to sing. Oh. So I like pinched on a hit in these songs, you know, as I was walking up, and they're all going, "Get this stuff to sing, sister gonna sing." And I'm put in there, ho, witty, witty, tino witty, tino mataku. Anyway, that night when I went back to, I was with the Nation of Islam, I went back to the house, and this brother said, "Sister, they're talking about you on the radio." They said, "There be a Maori Indian in the Baptist church today. Don't know what she was singing about in her own language. She made the hair stand on the back of my neck." And that's when I sort of got my little epiphany. So we started our music, and we thought, you know, Māori are invisible. We're not on the landscape. We're nowhere. So here's a bloody kuru coming right at you. Here's a haka. Here is a waka. Here is Waka Huia, the Kapa Haka group. Kerry Brown did the most awesome videos. And we wanted to walk the talk of our ancestors. We wanted to tell the stories. We spent a long time challenging and reaffirming, because the music industry is a microcosm of the wider society that we've been a part of. So outside the music industry, our mates were shaking the tree, and justice and education and health and media. Why the hell wouldn't we do that inside the music industry? You know, we coped here with being too Māori. Overseas, not Māori enough, because you're meant to be chanting and blowing on kōwaua all the time. In 1994, I called New Zealand radio racist. Māori language music has always been treated as a genre itself. It crosses all genres. And the Maioha Awards tonight, as a judge, we heard so many different genres. Absolutely amazing, from electronica to dance to R&B to soul, to heavy metal, yet it's still not heard on commercial airwaves. And the classic excuse is it doesn't fit the format. So it's been 30 years now. Stuff all has changed. It hasn't changed. So I think it's time, I believe it's time that, even though we have internet and we have iwi radio, it's time for the Crown to institute a quota for Māori language music on radio stations that play music. You know? Because it's good bloody music, and it's a beautiful language, and it's ours, it's from here, and it's a treaty obligation. And at the same time, we need our own independent Māori music industry commission to engage with these wonderful bodies that are looking for something solid that needs a robust process around it. It's too hard for the tamas, the anaheras, all the advocates who are trying to be musicians to stand up and fight for our rights at the same time. We need to be pimped up and blimmin', you know, ready to rock. The thing is that when you travel overseas, you find out that, you know, locally not but globally hot. Everybody loves the Māori language overseas. They love our music, they love our stories, they resonate with people. So I guess after all this time, I've learned that, you know, you have to live your life with passion. And when you're being authentic, then music has got the power to cross a lot of borders. It has, eh? You know, you connect with strangers, you all do that. You connect with strangers, you bring people together, you build relationships, and that's when you start to make change. And the Māori story, the Māori experience, our music, everything, it resonates strongly with people overseas. Our songs hold our stories, and we travel with those stories, and they touch people. So music and the arts has not been just a window, oh Jesus. Kamiora also said, "Don't cry, Mum." It's not just a window to the world, it's a mirror to our own. And there's a lot of people out there that are looking for connection, to feel solidarity, because the world is such a challenging place, and they can feel that for a moment with a song in a concert. So, Russell, this is the part where you get your sleeping bag out, because I'm just going to name check before I end. Trina, my darling friend Amaria, Patty Free, who's in New York, Marika Hodgson, Miki Utatonga, Carlos Tunks, Mahuia, go hard Mahuia, Horomona, Lawrence, Eds, Tamihana, Kiamara, there's a huge pile of sharples here, Tahira, Aaron, Arnett and Morgan. I've had enough haka performers that we could start a crew for Matatini. Let's talk about that actually. Big shout out to our darling friend Scotty Morrison and his wife Stacey, who have really supported me. To Kadzo Kosa, who's been with me longer than any of the men in my life, Kadzo. The Moa Hunter Days, Minaripia, who wrote that wonderful chorus for Ae O U, Tere Moana Rapley, many other beautiful female vocalists, JD, Pete Hoyter, Brent Turner, Richie Campbell, my darling, Warren Morgan, Hareruya Apurahama, who was so generous and such a mentor to me, Angus McNaughton, oh my God, I love you, Angus. We had so much fun. Daniel Barnes, Murray Kamek, you legend, who's here tonight, Danny Bennett Bryson from Damn Native, the wonderful Kerry Brown, the astounding, beautiful man that is Neil Cruikshank, George Hubbard and Tim Moon from Tangata Records, Marie Sheehan, Emma Paki, Hinuihi, all our crew from Southside and Tangata. I want to thank you, APRA and MCOS, for this extraordinary honour, and to acknowledge the fact that years ago when Hinuihi, myself, Teresa and Ruya, we came and asked for a maiaha, I didn't even finish the sentence and Mike Chan said, yep. And then when I said, do you think we could have some money to go with that? Yep. So bless you. Thank you, Anthony. And finally, for everyone in this room, my darling friend Victoria, thank you for your wonderful wānanga today. She is an artivist. So for everyone in this room, I just want you to consider how you can make a difference. And one of the ministers in that Detroit church was Reverend Al Sharpton, who I travelled with. And he said something I've never forgotten. He said, you got to stand for something. Because if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Kia ora, thank you very much. Thank you.